Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel SF with AK. This is Aman Kumar and I'm a 22 times certified Salesforce architect. We are continuing our journey of headless Salesforce. Last 3 episodes were all about our code getting a token. No browser was involved, just scripts. Today we change that to headless for our customers. By the end of the video, you would have built a form that shows your branch. It allows your customers to type in their email to get a code in their inbox and log into Salesforce Experience Cloud. And most important, Salesforce is there, but it's invisible the entire way. Let's build the form. Okay, before we start building the form, let's see the comparison of a customer journey with headless and without headless. A customer hits sign up. This can go two ways, headless identity and without headless identity. In without headless identity, they get bounced to a Salesforce Experience Cloud login page, a form that isn't yours, and the customer quietly thinks, wait, who is Salesforce? Some of them just might leave. With headless identity, they never leave your brand.com. They will always be on your page. A pixel perfect form submits to your API, and your API talks to Salesforce in the background. A code arrives from your domain and they are on your dashboard. Same Salesforce backend, same contact record gets created. The only thing that changed is how we called Salesforce and what the customers exactly saw. Was it Salesforce or your own brand? Until now, headless meant headless for our code. This version is headless for your customers, and it's the one with the most business on the line. 3 reasons. Brand control. Your customers never leave your domain, and that builds trust. The same fonts, same colors that your company uses, everything remains the same, just the backend will be Salesforce. Second reason, faster funnels. Sign up to first action, drop from minutes to seconds, and the conversion follows. And third and most important one, the compliance. The same backend as your CRM, so GDPR rights and audit trails stay in one place. This means the site is branded on the outside, but the data is consolidated on the inside. Every customer journey will map to one of these 4 APIs, and they all write the same engine, the authorization, code, and credential flow. New customers making an account, headless registration. Returning customers with a password, headless login. Customer who would rather get a magic code than remember a password, headless passwordless. And a customer who forgot their password, headless forgot password, which is really an account recovery flow, not a login flow. Today, we walk through each one in brief. Let's see how the headless registration will look like for a customer. It will complete in 5 steps. 1. The customer types in their email and name on your form. 2. That hits your API. When they submit the form, that will reach your API. Your backend will call Salesforce init registration endpoint. 3. Salesforce creates a contact and a user record. And once the creation is successful, it will send an OTP on email. It can be SMS as well, but for our demo, we will use email. 4. The code lands in the customer's inbox. 5. They type it back. Your API verifies it with Salesforce, and Salesforce hands back a token. In 60 seconds, user is logged in, and notice Experience Cloud was there doing all the heavy work, but it's invisible. The customer never sees a Salesforce branded page. Now let's see it live, then we will see the code behind it. Okay, so we are in VS Code. Let's open the terminal and we will start our server. Let's type in npm run dev, and it started our server in just 1254 milliseconds. Now let's click on this and it will open the page inside the VS Code itself. Now if you want to open the page in your browser, just copy the URL. Let's go to a browser Let's paste our URL and hit enter. That will open the form that we created in VS Code. Now, as you can see, Salesforce is nowhere on this page. I can see my own logo. I have my own pages, my own form, and customer will see that it's SF with AK form. Now, to create a customer, let's first get a new email. Let's copy the email and paste it here. Type in a name. Let's say my name itself. And we click on create account. In the backend, it will call Salesforce, and Salesforce will create a user and a contact for me, and then it will send a code to my own email. Now let's go back to the email page. We got the email. Let's click on it, and the code is 574270. 574270. We click on verify and sign in. Now it will send the code back to Salesforce. Salesforce will verify the code and provide us a customer access token that we can use to show the data that customer is allowed to see. Now we did not create a password. The customer might want to log in with a password. So when we go to login screen, we have option here to type in username and a password, but we did not type a password. Now click on forgot password and we'll create a new password here. So now type in the email, click on send reset code. That will send me a code on the email, and it will be a one-time password that I can use. Now let's go back to the email. Okay, we got the reset password link, and the one-time password is here. So let's copy the one-time password and we'll paste it here, and we'll create a new password for us. Now let's click on set new password, and password has been saved in Salesforce. Now let's copy the email again, and let's go to login page, type in the email, type in the new password, and click on sign in. And that would give me a new token again. Now let's say some customer doesn't want to use password. For that, we have passwordless login. In this, we just need to type in the email. It will send me a code. And let's go back to email. We got the code here. So let's copy the code. We'll paste the code in the form and click on verify and sign in. And with just one OTP, we are able to log in to the system. It does not require a password, just your email. That's it. And you are in. That is how easy it is to use the passwordless login. Now let's see the backend of this, how this form works and how it was written. And before that, let's go to Salesforce and see what we need to do on the Salesforce side before we go to the code. Click on Salesforce. Let's go to setup. First, we will see the changes needed on the external client app. Type in external and click on external client app manager. Now click on the headless auth. This is the name of my external client app. Now go to settings, go to auth settings, and over here we have extra scopes. So in our previous videos, we only used API and the reference token. But for headless customer identity to work, we need to have forgot password API as well as registration API and the passwordless login. We need all the three scopes to make it work. So I have already added the scopes in the app. Now let's see what changes are needed on the Experience Cloud site. So I will type in site. Let's go to all sites and let's go to workspace. Now click on administration and go to login and registration. And when you scroll down, there is a section for headless registration. You need to check these checkboxes. Allow self-registration via the headless registration API and require authentication to access this API. So you need to either check the authentication or the reCAPTCHA one. So I have already checked this one, and then we need to select a class. The class name is registration handler. So I have already created a class, headless registration handler, that will handle my user creation as well as contact creation. Then we need to assign a profile, and you need to select a profile for that. I've selected a profile, headless user. Now run as who will be the running user. When we're creating a new user, who will run that code. So I'm selecting myself there. Then for the headless forgot password flow, we need to check these two checkboxes: allow password reset via headless forgot password API and require authentication to access the API. Then headless passwordless login. Again, the two checkboxes: allow login via headless passwordless login API and the required authentication. And that is all that we need to change here. We can hit save and we're done. Now we don't need to look into Salesforce further. Everything else will be on the VS Code side. Now let's go to VS Code. Okay, let's close the terminal and let's close this page. First component that I have built is flow navigation, which tells which page to open. On the register page, it will open the register page. If on the login page, it will open the login page. Similarly for passwordless and forgot password. So these are the 4 pages that I've created, and this particular component decides which one to open. Now let's go to sign up form. This is the form that opened initially on the page. In this, I have the HTML of the form that I built and a few methods, like what to call when someone hits submit for the first time or create account. Then it will go to on sign up and the screen will change to OTP one. Then when they submit the OTP and click on verify, it will run on verify. And when they enter the OTP, we will run on OTP change, because we need to store the OTP somewhere that we can send back to Salesforce. Similarly, we have other pages as well. So we have forgot password here, and this contains the HTML of the page where I can see SF with AK reset password page and all the other form values that I have. Similarly, it has some methods like on reset, what needs to be done. On init, that means when we initialize the reset password, it will run that, and this will be the initial method that automatically called. Then we have login, in which we pass the username and the password to get a token. Then we have passwordless, where we just type in the username and it sends an OTP to our email and we are able to log in without a password. Now let's see how these methods work from the Salesforce side. For that, I have created a library called salesforce.js. All my methods are inside this one single file. Now let's start from the top. I'm importing the crypto to create the challenge code, because we will be using the Pixie flow. Then we are importing the HTTPS to make the callouts. Then these are all the variables that I've stored in my env file, and I'm importing those variables. Then I'm asserting if there are any variable which is needed but is missing. If something is missing, it will throw an error. Then I have base64 URL, which will convert a string to base64 URL so that we can pass it as a parameter and make callouts. Then we have make Pixie method. In this method, we create a verifier using the crypto class. Then we create a challenge using the same verifier, and we return the verifier and challenge. Then we have generate password method, which will generate a random password that we can send to Salesforce. Then these are variables: app token expiry. Then we have get app access token. So this is the initial token that we need to call other APIs. So for this, we will use client credential flow. In that, we will only pass client ID and client secret, and will directly call the auth2 token URL. That will return us a token. We will store the token in app token and the expiry in app token expiry. Now, then this is a read response, which will just read the response that we receive from the callout. Then the first method that we used is init registration, where the user or the customer creates an account for themselves. In this method, I have 3 input parameters: email, first name, and last name. So from the form, we will pass email, first name, and last name. It will run this method. First, we will assert all the configurations for all the required parameters that we just checked over at the top: SF site URL, SF client ID, SF client secret, redirect URI, and all should be there. So we will confirm that. Then we will get a new token. So we will await for the get app access token that will return a token for us to call the registration API. Now we will pass the token in the header.authorization, and we will make the callout from here. We are making a post request to headless init registration. Now the body that we need to pass, the first name that was passed from the method, last name from the form, email the user typed in, and username we are passing it as email, but it can be different because in Salesforce username needs to be unique. You can use the email of the customer, or you can append something that will make it unique in Salesforce. Then we pass the password, and we use generate password method here to create a random password. If needed, we can also pass it from the form and give the user option to type in their password the first time they try to log in or try to create a new account. In the verification method, we are passing as email. We can use SMS as well, so both are accepted, but for SMS we will need an API or some system which can send SMS from Salesforce to customer. Then we call the read response method, which will receive the response and the step we are on. Then it will return the body to us. From the body, we will get the identifier and store that in identifier variable, and we'll store the raw body as well. And once the customer types in the OTP and click on verify, it will call verify OTP method, from where we will call authorize and token and pass in the request type. Like authorize and request type is user registration. In basic, we'll pass the identifier that we received in the previous step, the OTP that the user typed in, and the verification type is the email here. And let's see the authorize and token method, how it works. So this is the method. It asserts the configuration again, and then we create a pixie, which will return us a verifier and a challenge. Now we will use these parameters to get a token from Salesforce. For that, we will just pass code credential flow, client ID, redirect URI, the scope that we need, code challenge that we generated from here, and code challenge method is S256. In the headers, we will pass authorization request type and content type and authorization. Then in the verification type, we will pass auth verification type, which will be email in our case. Then we will make a post request to our site URL, services, auth to authorize, which will return as a code that we will use and get a token. Then we are defining a code variable, which we will use in the later steps. Then we will use code from location method and get the code from the location or the URL that we received from the post request, which returned auth row. Now we have the code. Now we'll use that code to get a token. Now for token, we'll make another call out. Now the grant type would be authorization code. We'll pass the code, we'll pass the client ID, we'll pass the client secret, we'll pass the redirect URI, and the verifier that we created using Pixie. Now for the token, we will use site, services, auth2, and token. Now the site variable is your community site URL and not the Salesforce base URL. In the body, we will pass token form .toString this body, and it will return a response that we will read using read response method, and that is how it will provide us a token. Now the next method is login. In login, we will just pass in the username and password, and again call authorize and token. We will use authorization request type as named user, and in the basic we will pass username and password, and that will automatically return us a token because this time we are passing the credentials directly. Third one is passwordless. In this, we will use init passwordless method, where the customer will provide the username and the verification method will be email. First, we will assert the configurations so that we have all the required parameters. Then we will get a new token, app token, using the method get app access token, which will return a token to us. And we will set the token in the header. Now we will make a post request to services auth headless init passwordless login. That is the API. And in body, we will pass username and verification method, and that will send a code to the user. And we will store the response in our body variable, which will return a body.identifier, which will be identifier, and we'll pass it back. In the verify passwordless method, we will get the identifier from here and the OTP typed by the customer. And again, we will call authorize and token using authorization request type as passwordless login. And this time, we will pass the identifier and OTP, and verification type will be email. Fourth one is forgot password. This will start from here. Init forgot password. and we will call forgot password request along with the username and the step forgot password init. Let's go to this method. This is the method. In this, we'll first assert the configuration. Then we'll get a token from the get app access token. We'll pass the authorization. Then we make a post request to headless forgot password, and that will return a one-time password which will be sent to user via email. In step 2, we will pass the username which we already have from the first step, one-time password that was sent to the user, and the new password that user will type in the form. Then we will call the same request method, forgot password request. Now this time we will pass username, one-time password, and the new password. All three will be there. We will call the same API, headless forgot password. Just because we have different parameters in the body, it will allow us to set that password. That is all about the 4 methods that I have used for this demo. Now let's get back to the PPT. This will help the D2C customers who want to show their brand and still want to use Salesforce in the backend. And if they have native apps, so they have their own apps, but in the backend, they want to show the records from Salesforce, they can simply use headless passwordless. That will allow the user to log in with simple OTP and it works. Then there can be branded self-service portals where they have their own brand, but in the backend, it will be Salesforce. And that is how it improves the customer experience. Well, that is all in headless identity. Your brand in the front, Salesforce is always there, but invisible. In episode 5, Claude meets Salesforce. We watch an AI agent called Salesforce through MCP servers, and AI becoming Salesforce's newest user. If the video helped you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so that episode 5 lands in your feed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.